Hello students, I hope everything is going well and you all are studying well and doing your assignments, doing your homework in a correct way, and whatever you have doubt you are asking to your subject teacher. So today in this video class I will tell you regarding the data frame. The last class we had discussed regarding the data series. Today we will discuss about the data frame, which is the another data structure of pandas. So let us start. So I have told you regarding the data frame a little bit earlier. That means in the previous video classes when I had started the data series, when I had started the pandas. Once again I want to tell you about this data frame. So a data frame is another pandas data structure which stores data in two-dimensional way. Two-dimensional array you have created. In the two-dimensional array you had the rows and the columns. So here too in the data frame also it is like a two-dimensional structure, means the data will be stored in a two-dimensional way. So it is just similar to a spreadsheet or a SQL table. A spreadsheet means the Excel sheet. You have seen the Excel sheet, you have worked on the Excel. You have seen the Excel sheet as the sheet is divided into rows and columns, and the individual cells are created when the rows and column will divide with each other. So here also whatever the structure of a spreadsheet or SQL table means the rows as well as the columns, the data is stores in the rows as well as column. So in that very way, what was the structure of spreadsheet or SQL table? In that very way, the data frame value will able to display. Means it is like a spreadsheet or a SQL table, or a dictionary of series objects. Series you had created. So when the data frame will be created, it can be created through the series too. So it is like a spreadsheet or a SQL table or a dictionaries of series object, because it is a two-dimensional labeled array which is an ordered collection of columns where columns store different types of data, example numeric, string or float or boolean type. It means that when the data frame will be created, the rows as well as column will be created. The columns will have the ordered collection. Ordered collection means one by one the specific information will be stored, and the columns stores the different types of data. One column may be store the string type of data, another column will have the numeric type of data, the next column will have the string or float or boolean type of data. So the columns stores the different types of data altogether. So when you will create the data frame, two things will be noted to you. When you will create the data frame, it will like a two-dimensional array structure. The columns as well as rows will display, and the columns will have the different types of data. Columns can store the different types of data. So in the last videos also I have told you the columns of the data frame will store the heterogeneous type of data. So this is the definition regarding the data frame which you need to note down in your copy. Next we will see the structure of the characteristics of the data frame. So characteristics of the data frame is, first is it has two indexes, because it data frame is the structure of the data frame is of two-dimensional array type of structure. So two-dimensional means it will be two indexes, the row indexes as well as the column indexes. So the two indexes will be there for the data frame. Indexes can also be named as two axes. So it has two indexes or two axes, a row index which represents at axis 0 and a column index which represents as axis equal to 1. So you have to note down whichever is highlighted one, that row index will be, all the rows will be represented through axis 0 and all the columns will be represented as axis equal to 1. Second characteristics is it is like a spreadsheet. Already I have told you the Excel sheet or the spreadsheet, where each value of the data frame is identifiable with the combination of one value. If you want to extract then that value can be extracted through the combination of row index and column index. Obviously, because it is like a 2D structure, rows as well as column will be there. So all the individual values of the data frame will be recognized or identified by the combination of row index and column index. So both row as well as column will be used to access that individual value of the data frame. Row index is known as simply the index and the column index is called the column name. So this is the technical term used for the data frame. When only index will be written, it means it is a row, and when column name will be specified, it means it is a column index. Next characteristics is the indexes can be numbers or letters or strings. Whether it will be the column or the row index, it may be numbers, it may be letters, or it may be string. It doesn't mean that in array type of structure, when you had created the array, the array indexes always starts with, by default, it 0, 1, 2. That means the numbers. It is not like that. Data frame indexes can be numbers, it can be letters, or it can be string. Next is columns can have data of different types. Just now I had told you the columns, the value which you will store the columns, it will have the different types. It can be string type, it can be boolean type, it can be integer type. So the columns represents the heterogeneous type of data. Next is values of the data frame can easily be changed. What the value will be going to store in the data frame, that can be changed later on. So value is mutable, value is modifiable. If you want to change value by mistake, you have written the wrong one, and afterwards you want to modify it, correct it, then it can be done in data frame. So value is mutable. The meaning of mutable is changeable or modifiable. Next characteristics is rows or columns can be added or deleted in a data frame. Whether it will be the rows or the columns you want to add or delete. Suppose you have created the data frame by taking 2 rows and 3 columns. Later on you want to add the rows or delete some column, that can also be done. That means its size is mutable. Size of the data frame will be recognized by its number of rows as well as its number of columns. So not only the value but size of the data frame is also mutable. So these were the characteristics that you need to note down and that you need to remember it. Next we will see how in memory the data frame will be represented. So this is the example which I have taken from the last video class when I had discussed regarding the pandas. So this is the representing a data frame with 2-dimensional array with heterogeneous data. Heterogeneous means the different types of data. So when you will create the data frame in memory, it will be represented in this way, or when you will access the data of the data frame, it will be displayed in this particular way, which I have drawn, the table type of structure, where these were the rows, 1 rows, 2 rows, 3 rows, 4 rows, and these are the columns, country, population, birth rate, and update date. So isn't it the 2D structure? Yes, it is a 2-dimensional type of structure. So 2-dimensional means 2 axes, the rows as well as these column. Rows will be represented as row, index will be represented as index, where axis would be 0, and column will be axis 1, which I have shown through the arrows and all. So column means axis 1 and rows means index axis equal to 0. These are the values: India 18.84, 2019-01-07. All these are the different data values. Country, population, birth rate, update date, these are the name of the columns. So all the columns will have axis equal to 1 and all the rows will have the index, that means axis equal to 0. So these are the rows. So India, United States, Indonesia, Brazil, or all values are of which type? All the values are of string type, and this particular column country will have the data as string. But when you will see the next column, which is population, the data values of the population are the another type of data. It is the integer type of data. Again, when you will see the birth rate column, you can see the birth rate column will have the float type of value. All the values of the birth rate column will have the float type. When you will see this column update date, all the values again is of date type, or you can say the integer type of value is mentioned over here. So you can say that data frame is a two-dimensional array structure, and all the columns will have the heterogeneous type of data. This column is string data, this column numeric, this one is the float, this one is the date type of values. So this is how the data frame will be represented internally. Next we will see the creation of data frame. When you want to create the data frame, then how the data frame will be created by the help of the syntax, what we have to know. And to create a data frame, following syntax is used. The syntax is written a little bit smaller in size because I want to finish all the syntaxes in the same line, because if it will be in a different line you may confuse. So when you will write in the copy, it is written in the same way, in the way what I have followed. So the syntax is, first of all you will specify the name of the data frame object equal to name of the library, that is the pandas. In place of pandas namespace can be used, as we did in series. When we had created the series, we had used the namespace or the alias name for the pandas as PD. So here also PD or any name which you want to give can be used as the namespace for the pandas. Or if you don't want to change the name, it will remain as it is, that is pandas. Okay, so first of all the data frame object name, then equal to, then pandas, which is the library of for creating the data frame, afterwards dot, and then because you want to create the data frame, so you will write here data frame. When you had created the series, you had written here the series. One thing I want to tell you is, for the data frame, the D and F must be written in capital letter, as while writing the series S were written in capital. So while writing the data frame, when you are going to create the data frame, so data frame is one of the function name, okay, one of the method name. So the name should be written in a correct way, and the name, what is the correct way? The correct way is D and F of data frame must be written in capital letter, and there should not have any space in between. Data frame should be a single word, and afterwards inside its parenthesis what should be written. So it is the argument is given as a 2D data structure, means here you will specify the 2D structure. Rest of the things, column equal to column sequence, index equal to index sequence, means separately explicitly you want to define column as well as rows, that can also be written. So it is given under the square bracket, means this is the optional one. So whether you write a 2D structure or explicitly you will specify the columns for the data frame and the rows for the data frame. Index means the rows. So here you can see that data frame, when you are going to create, will have the 2D structure, or separately you will provide column or the index. So this is the syntax for the data frame. So here the syntax is written as, when you will write the 2D data structure, where 2D structure passed to it contains the data value. That means when you will write the 2D structure, it will have the data value in the form of 2D array. It will have the in the form of 2D array or 2D dictionary, or any type where it should have the two-dimensional structure. because data frame is a 2D structure, two-dimensional structure. Rows as well as columns should be provided when you will create the data frame. So we can create a data frame object by passing the data in many ways. When we are going to create the data frame can be created in any of the following 4 ways. 1, 2, 3, 4. Any of the following ways we can create the data frame. The first way, that means when you will create the data frame after writing the data frame object, then equal to, then pandas, then dot, afterwards data frame, and inside the bracket. These are the things. The fourth ways is about what you will written inside the argument of the data frame, inside the parameter of the data frame. So what will be written in the form in the place of 2D structure? It can be two-dimensional dictionaries. It can be two-dimensional ND arrays, that means the NumPy arrays. It can be series type of object, or it can be another data frame object. What does it mean? It means that when we will create the data frame then the data after writing pandas, then data frame, we will provide any of the 4 things. If you want to create the data frame with the help of dictionaries, the dictionaries should be provided with the help of two-dimensional, means rows as well as columns should be provided as a dictionary. If you want to create the 2D data frame with the help of NumPy arrays, then NumPy arrays means two-dimensional array structure you need to provide. So this is the meaning of 2D structure. 2D data structure is that when you will create 2D data, when you will create the data frame, the structure should have the 2D type of, means two-dimensional structure should be provided. Or first you write the column and then the column sequence and then index and the index. Index here means the rows. As I have told now, columns means column index and index means the row index explicitly. So you have to note down each and everything whatever I have told you, starting from definition till the syntax and the creation of the data frame. Next class I will explain more about the data frame, how to create it with the help of dictionaries, with the help of arrays, etc. Till then you revise the things, you will note down the things, and I will meet you in the next video. Till then, bye.